And then,
Okay, so I think we can start now.
yes.
All right. Okay, so Pavan, like before going ahead, like, do you have any specific question for me about like apart from the introduction part and the course curriculum that we'll discuss in some time? But do you have any specific question?
Uh, regard specific questions, what I have is I
Mhm.
actually gone through the course content what you will going to cover during this training curriculum. Yeah,
Okay.
but there I cannot find any specific related to Ariba CIG. So just want to know whether this will going to be covered. Uh,
It is there, Pavan. You can see my screen, right?
yes. Okay.
We have. We'll talk about CIG. So
Okay.
basically, we'll talk about like from CIG perspective. So we'll talk about CIG, like what is CIG, and
Mm-hmm.
whatever config we have to do for like any integration from ERP point of view.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll talk about basically we'll talk about the ERP integration, like so we'll talk about ERP configuration from CIG specific.
Rohit sir, sorry to interrupt you. Hi
Mhm.
guys, this is Gautam here from Sreshta Infotech Solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I think I don't know. I forgot your name. Uh, Pratik Pavan sir.
Yes, sir.
Hi sir. Sir, you said in the mail. How many people are there, sir?
Uh, yes, sir. I actually told Rohit sir that in total we were four, but other two participants got an urgent meeting, so they couldn't participate. So the rest other two will going to go through the recorded session. Okay, for the of this demo.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, Gautam sir. Thank you so much. Yeah, Pavan. So I was saying like we'll talk about CIG. You can see in section 7, right? We have the CIG part here as part of integration. So here we'll talk about like about CIG, like what is CIG, whatever different kind of config we have to do from CIG perspective in SAP ERP. And we'll
Mm-hmm.
talk about like CIG portal as well, like whatever different kind of setup we have to do in CIG portal, like creation of the integration project, mapping, data validation, testing tool, transaction tracker. So we'll talk about
Okay.
those part as well during this like integration session. We have the CIG.
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Any further? Any other specific question?
And yeah, one more I was having, but I can see in the point number 8 that is related to the Ariba, this administration part. Okay, so this will also you're going to cover. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Give me, do one thing, Pavan. Give me just some
Yes.
time, at least 20
Yes.
minutes. Then I'll come to
Sure.
the
Sure.
course curriculum and your question
Yes.
will automatically get answered.
Sure. Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think let's get started now.
Yeah. Yeah. We can start.
All right. Thank you. All right. So I can see Pratik. Hi, Pavan. Hi, Pratik. Good afternoon. So today we are here like to discuss about the Ariba demo session, and we'll talk about like SAP Ariba. So initially we'll talk about like what is SAP Ariba as basics, and most importantly we'll discuss like why SAP Ariba, because in most of the cases when you are working on the any Ariba implementation project, so in most of the cases you will see your customer they are using SAP ERP system, or might be some of the customer they are using non ERP system as well, and they would like to have that like with they would like to go with the SAP Ariba, right? Or we have to basically talk to them like why they have to go with the SAP Ariba. So definitely customer will also ask you like why we have to go with the Ariba, like whatever the benefit we will get with the Ariba. So we'll talk about the benefit as well, like whatever different kind of benefit our customer will get with Ariba. That's something we'll discuss. And apart from that, we'll also talk about the scope of the SAP Ariba as well, like how will be the scope of Ariba. This is something an individual questions, because sometimes like we are going to change our domain. So we are thinking like how will be our future in the SAP Ariba. So we'll talk about Ariba scope as well, right? And apart from that, we will talk about like Ariba business process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Pawan.
Yeah. Yeah. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Okay. You can go on mute and you can unmute if you have any question.
Okay.
Thanks, Pawan. Okay, so we'll talk about like Ariba, basically business process as well. So most importantly, like that whenever we are working as an Ariba consultant, so learning of the any technology is not a big deal. So whatever technology you want to learn, like you want to learn SAP Ariba, you want to learn like that SAP S4HANA or whatever you want to learn, you can learn. Only we have to spend some time, spend some amount, we can learn. But what miss is there, like when we have to convert our knowledge, when we have to convert our technical knowledge to the business process, that is basically a very challenging part, right? That means we'll try to understand how we can map this Ariba solutions with the business process, or we can say with the customer process. So that's something also we'll discuss. And we'll talk about Ariba implementation approach as well, because if you see in the Ariba point of view, so implementation is very important, right? So we'll talk about Ariba implementation approach, how basically we have to implement SAP Ariba. We'll talk in short, not in very long. And then we'll talk about like we'll have the system demonstration as well. I'll show you Ariba system as well, how the Ariba system looks like. I know you might be already aware, but just as part of this demo, I'll show you. And during that time, whatever question you will have, so definitely I'll try to catch up your questions as well. Okay. So before we proceed, like let's have a quick introduction call from everyone. And let me first introduce about myself, then I'll come to you. So as you know, my name is Rohit, and I'm working in the SAP industries from last 13 years. So overall, I'm having around 16 years of experience. But from 13 years, I'm working in the SAP industries. And I have started my career as SAP consultant. SAP is called as a materials management module, and this is basically supporting the procurement activities. So I was basically SAP consultant initially, and where I work on the different implementation project of the SAP Later, I moved to the SAP S4HANA, and where I like work on that different kind of HANA migration project from ECC to HANA migration. And in SAP Ariba, I'm working from last 6 years. And during these years, I have implemented couples of the Ariba project, and mainly I work with the US client, and where I've implemented Ariba upstream, Ariba downstream. So upstream in the sense I've implemented like Ariba sourcing, Ariba contract, Ariba P2P, and Ariba guided buying as well. And currently I'm working with that like in Bangalore location with Big Four MNC, and where I'm looking this SAP Ariba and SAP solutions. So right now also I'm working with the one US client, and where basically we are implementing like complete SAP solutions. Complete SAP solutions means our customer was using Oracle, and they have decided to go with that like a SAP product. And for that we are implementing SAP S4HANA, EWM, and we are implementing SAP Ariba, and even we are implementing Ariba supply chain collaboration as well. So basically I'm responsible to take care of the SAP Ariba product. So here in this project I'm responsible to deliver the like Ariba supply chain collaboration and Ariba solution product. All right, so that's it from my side. Can we go to you, Pawan and Pratik?
Okay, so thanks Rohit for telling about yourself. So it was really good to know about you. So yeah, so so okay, telling about my profile. So I am my primary skill set is into SAP Materials Management. I'm a certified Materials Management consultant, and I'm working into this SAP consulting area for the past 7+ years. Yeah. So I have been working in different types of projects of SAP So right from the ECC implementation, okay, so it was then it also add to my list one brownfield implementation projects, and now we are doing the S4 greenfield rollouts. Yeah.
Wow.
So that is my primary skill, and apart from that, I am also having the secondary skill in my competencies list, which includes the SAP Extended Warehouse Management and SAP Transportation Management as well. Yeah,
Mhm.
so this is a short introduction about myself. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Pawan. So Pawan, do you know, do you have some idea about SAP Ariba as well?
Yeah, Rohit, some little bit, not yeah, in much more detail. Yeah,
Mhm.
so I know some ABC about it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Pawan. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yes, Pratik.
So
Hi, I'm Pratik Sutar, working in Lances from last 6 years. This is my first company.
Mhm,
So I'm supporting Java application. Name is ProShop. It's like similar to, Amazon or Flipkart.
mhm.
So we are currently moving from this application to Ariba. Uh,
Oh,
so so that's why I'm learning this Ariba
oh,
thing.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
That means Ariba is only built up for only for you as well, because Ariba is also Java-based platform. We have Java
Okay.
coding in the Ariba.
Okay. Okay. So yeah.
All right.
So about Ariba, I have zero knowledge about this Ariba.
Mhm. No
Some
problem,
basic
Pratik.
understanding, but yeah. Mhm. So this
Okay.
is all about.
No worries, Pratik. Thank you so much.
Mhm. Okay.
Okay, so thanks, Pratik, and thanks, Pavan. And really, it's really nice to hear about like having a good experience like from Pavan your side. So that's very good. And even like SAP Ariba is the quite similar with SAP MM as well. So whatever things we are doing like in SAP MM, or even you can say in the SAP SRM as well, you will come to know in some time itself, but same like it's quite similar. So whatever the different kind of processes we are doing in the SAP MM, same process, same concept we have in SAP Ariba as well. But differences is that like if you see in the SAP MM, so in SAP MM basically that is the on-premise solutions, right? And if you see that like user interface point of view, so the SAP MM user interface is quite complex, right? Whereas SAP Ariba interface is very like the familiar, it's very user friendly. And without a like the complete training, or I would not say like that any particular training as well. Of course, training is mandatory in all the areas, but with the minimum like effort, we can easily work on the SAP Ariba. So that is basically pretty much similar with the SAP MM and even SAP SRM as well. Okay. Okay. So let's start now. Okay. Before going to start, do you have any question, Pavan, Pratik, to me?
Not from my side, Rohit.
Okay. You can interrupt me whenever you will have any question. You can interrupt me. Okay.
Sure.
All right. So let's talk about SAP Ariba. So what is basically SAP Ariba? So even this kind of question also you will have in your mind as well, because if you say so last I would say not basically very fast, but if you say like last 3 to 4 years or last 5 years, many people are talking about the SAP Ariba, right? And definitely you will have the questions like what is SAP Ariba? I don't understand why the Ariba is become very popular in the market. So what is the reason and what is SAP Ariba? So overall, if you see basically, so Ariba is the cloud-based procurement solutions and which are offering one digital platform to supplier and the customer to perform the procurement activities. So procurement activities in the sense we can say basically purchasing activities. So Ariba is basically offering one digital platform. So you can say digital platform or you can say basically online platform where supplier and customer both can interact to each other and they can start their business activities. So whatever different kind of business activities from purchasing point of view they have to do, they can do with the help of the SAP Ariba. And most importantly, SAP Ariba is a cloud solutions. So cloud solutions in the sense like we don't have need to install any kind of hardware or any kind of software. Generally, we'll talk about software. So we don't have to install any kind of software in like to use the SAP Ariba. For example, if you see in the SAP MM, so in SAP MM, whenever we have to use, then first we have to install the SAP GUI, right? And without installing the SAP GUI, we can't perform any kind of, we can't able to use that SAP system itself. But in case of the SAP Ariba, this is really not required because it is completely web-based solution. That means you should have only the internet connectivity. If you have the internet connectivity and whatever the browser you have based on your system compatibility, like we can say Chrome, Mozilla, Safari, or we can say basically Microsoft Edge. So whatever the particular browser you have, you can easily start working on the SAP Ariba with the help of this browser and internet. So this is completely purely cloud solutions and where we can perform the online transactions. So what is the meaning of the online transactions? So online transactions in the sense, let's take some example just to understand the online transactions. So let me give you very simple example, just a layman example. So what is happening whenever we are doing any purchasing, like whenever we are purchasing any product from the e-commerce site, like from Flipkart or Amazon or anywhere. So when basically you place your order, so how you get the confirmation either your supplier has received your order or not. That means how you are confirming about order, like either your order is really placed or not. How we are confirming. So we are confirming with the help of the application. If you have basically particular application, you will open the application. You can check the order status. It is display here like order status is confirmed, right? Or if you are using that basically web site, so you can open the web, you can open the particular site, you can check the order history, you can easily find out. So this is basically like called as online. Otherwise, generally, if you see in the other purchasing, like if you talk about SAP Pratik, just I'm giving this information about just for understanding purpose. I know you may not be able to understand, but give me some time, you will understand as well.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So if you see in the SAP so in SAP also we are creating the purchase order, and the purchase order getting issued to the supplier with the help of the transmission medium or whatever we configured. But if you so in that case, if you have to that confirm about the purchase order, like either the supplier has received the purchase order or not. So in your system you can see our output is basically showing in the green like color. That means it's transmitted from the SAP, but still your supplier has received the purchase order or not, that you are not sure. Why you are not sure? Because we don't have basically the simplified environment in the SAP to check this online things here. So how we can make sure our supplier has received our purchase order or not? You can make a phone call, you can do the WhatsApp, you can drop the email, and if they will confirm there, then you will say basically yes, they have received the purchase order, right? So if you see in the SAP so we can't say SAP we are doing the online activity, that is basically the offline activities. But here in the SAP Ariba, we can do as an online activity. So SAP Ariba is also offering the same kind of digital platform to customer, like whenever you placed any order, and if you want to check the status of your purchase order, either supplier has received our purchase order or not, you can easily check with the help of the SAP Ariba, right? So that is why overall we can say like SAP Ariba is digital solutions, and which is offering one Ariba network platform where buyers and suppliers both can interact to each other to perform their procurement activities. And it is especially supporting on the procurement process, not other than that. So whatever different kind of procurement activities we are doing, or whatever different kind of product we are purchasing as a customer, so we can basically perform the purchasing activity with the help of the SAP Ariba. Okay. Now, if you talk about from solution perspective, so SAP Ariba is quite similar with the SAP and SAP SRM. So SAP is also like one of that like a very popular product of the SAP SAP company, and with the help of the SAP as well. Or I would add one more point here, like as SAP S/4HANA also, because now we have the SAP S/4HANA. So SAP S/4HANA and SAP both are basically offering the same solutions to the customer. Like the customer can perform different kind of procurement activities with the help of the SAP and SAP S/4HANA as well. So overall, SAP Ariba is also the quite similar with SAP and SAP S/4HANA, or we can say from SAP SRM itself, right? So that means whatever the activities that we are doing there, and same kind of activities we can do like in SAP Ariba as well, but differences is that simplified environment. So simplified environment in the sense, you can say basically user interface simplified, like your screen is completely changed. You will not find out like a number of fields. So basically, if you go in the SAP let's say one person joined your organization today or last week, and you have not given the proper training to that user, and you were expecting that user should create one purchase requisition in the SAP So what do you think? Will he able to do? No, right? Why? What is the problem? So problem is that your user interface is more complex in the SAP So we have the different tab, we have different field, and definitely he will get confused, like what information I have to enter, which information I have to escape, right? And if he don't have any prior experience, or if he has not undergo with the proper training, definitely he will stuck and he will seek some help from you, from the other team member. right? So that is the problem basically in the SAP LMM or SAP MM, or we can say in SAP S/4HANA as well, whereas the SAP Ariba solutions are completely similar. And most importantly, this is basically that digital solutions. Okay. Let me give you one more example just for your understanding the benefit of the Ariba. So usually if you see in the SAP MM or in SAP S/4HANA, whenever we have to create any purchase requisition or whenever we have to create any purchase order. So what do you think? Like usually how, like what is the cycle time to create the purchase requisition or purchase order in the SAP MM or HANA? So you may say it may take might be 3 minutes, 2 to 3 minutes for the professional user. And if the user is new, so he may take around 5 minutes as well. Or even in some cases, you may say in very worst cases, it may take around 10 minutes as well. Right. But that is basically the exception cases. So let's assume, for example, usually to create the purchase requisition or purchase order in the SAP MM or HANA, it is taking around 5 minutes. Just I'm taking very on every cycle time here. It is taking around 5 minutes, or you can say it will take around 3 minutes as well. Right. So now in 3 minutes, basically one user will able to create one purchase requisition. And let's assume in your organization, every day you are creating around 100 of the requisition. So in that case, if you like that basically in like sorry in that case if you see the total time of the purchase requisition, it will become 3 into 100. That means we can say 300 minutes, right? So on behalf of or instead of that, if I will give you one solution where you can create the purchase requisition within fraction of seconds, or I would say max to max, you have to only spend 1 minute to create the purchase requisition. This is one thing. Second thing, basically, you don't have to provide that many more information in the purchase requisition. You can only provide some minimal information to create the purchase requisition. And within 1 minute, the system will automatically, like you will able to create the purchase requisition in that solution. So if you tell to your customer about this solution, definitely your customer will be curious to know. Like, of course, we would like to know what is that solution, right? Because we are spending every day 300 minutes, like to create around 100 of purchase requisition. And you are saying like in the other solutions, I will be able to create the same purchase requisition within 1 minute. So in that cases, I'm going to save my 200 minutes itself, right? That means you can say it's around 3 hours, something like that. So definitely it is going to be a very like a good cost reduction for me. And also we can basically utilize our time in the different work as well, right? So what is that solution? And that solution basically is the SAP Ariba solutions as well, right? So in SAP Ariba, basically whenever we have to perform any purchase requisition activities, so SAP Ariba is basically following that e-commerce site application process. Like whatever the product we have to purchase, we can open the Ariba, we can search any of the particular product, add to the cart, proceed to checkout. That's it. And during this process, like when we have to add the item in the cart and we have to proceed to checkout, so we have to only provide some minimal information. So maximum information system will automatically determine based on the setup. Though you can, if you want to change, you can change, but system will determine automatically, and with minimal information, you can initiate your purchasing activity in the SAP Ariba, right? So like these are the different benefit of the SAP Ariba, and that is why basically SAP Ariba is become more popular. And even this time, if you see, so this time basically is called as the Internet of Things as well. This era is called as the Internet of Things, right? That means most of the activities as a customer, and we can take our examples as well. We are also the customer, and in our day-to-day life, we are also purchasing different kind of product, right? And whenever we have to purchase any particular product, so we are also referring to go with the online. So we are looking to purchase from Flipkart or from Amazon or from some other e-commerce site, whatever you have in your location, right? So that means basically most of the things we are doing online. And same way from customer point of view as well, like who is running their business, they are also looking some digital platform where they can basically perform the online activity. That means they can create the purchase order online, and supplier can fulfill that delivery online, right? And supplier and customer both can basically interact with each other online. So overall they are looking some online platform where they can perform the procurement activities And the same way, Ariba is also offering the same kind of solutions to the customer as well. That is something about the SAP Ariba. Okay. One thing I want to add here before coming to you for any question. So don't think Ariba is the SAP product. SAP, Ariba, both are different company itself. So Ariba is a different entity. SAP is a different entity, different company. So Ariba is basically founded in 1996. And at that time, basically, Ariba was offering the on-premise solutions. So Ariba is also offering sourcing and procurement solutions. And but it was offering like the on-premise solutions to the customer. And later point of time in 2010, Ariba came up with this like cloud solutions as well. And that time the Ariba was offering both the solutions to customer, like cloud solutions as well as on-premise solutions as well. And what happened in 2012, that SAP company, they have acquired the Ariba on some sharing basis. I can't like recall that exact sharing, but they have like acquired the Ariba company on some sharing basis. And that is why still, if you see, we have the Ariba logo or Ariba company name is there along with the SAP company. And they have basically acquired the Ariba. And then basically in 2012, it becomes like SAP Ariba. And after acquiring by the SAP made lots of changes. So first thing, basically, because of the SAP logo, the Ariba becomes more popular. And apart from that, SAP company, or I would say Ariba team, they made lots of changes in the Ariba product. So first of all, what they did, they stopped that like solutions or support of this like on-premise solutions, and they have circulated the information to all the customer, like they are not going to release any new version or any upgraded versions or solutions of the on-premise solution. So whatever the solutions you received as of now, if you want to use, you can continue with that. Otherwise, if you want to upgrade the features, you want to upgrade your solutions, then it's better to go with the on cloud solutions of the Ariba. So this is the one major like changes Ariba they did after acquiring by the SAP. And apart from that, like they have basically like retired some of the solutions, and they made some changes in the user interface point of view as well. They made the changes from that like process point of view as well, right? So still, I would say basically still the Ariba is under development, and still every quarters we are getting new releases of the Ariba. So initially, when the SAP company, they have acquired the Ariba, so that time their plan was to replace the SAP SRM by Ariba, right? So this was their plan. Like they would like to replace the SAP SRM from the SAP Ariba. This was the one plan. Second plan basically was there like they want to replace the SAP ECC like SAP with SAP S4HANA as well, right? So that is why SAP S4HANA and the SAP Ariba came in the picture. But when Ariba came in the market with the SAP logo and the customer started using the Ariba, so the only customer who are using SAP SRM, so only they have not like implemented SAP Ariba. Even the customer who never used SAP SRM, they are also using the SAP Ariba as well because of the simplified nature. So because of the digital platform, they are also using the SAP Ariba as well. Okay, so this is something like about the SAP Ariba journey. And even earlier as well, like we are getting like every quarter release from the SAP Ariba. So like Ariba is basically trying to bring all that like functionality, whatever functionality we have in the SAP whatever functionalities we have in the SAP S4HANA, and even in SAP SRM as well. So they are trying to bring all the functionalities in the SAP Ariba. And that is why you may like realize like in every quarters, like we are getting some new or different changes in the SAP Ariba. Change in the sense, whatever process was there, that is still there, but they are adding some different kind of add-on in the SAP Ariba every quarterly. Okay. Now, in the next, we'll talk about customer business process, and we'll try to understand how we can basically like, that map that customer business process with the SAP Ariba. But before going to that, like, do you have any question from anyone?
So far clear, Rohit, for me. But just want to know, are you sharing something? Because I can see only this Word document only regarding to the course content.
Oh, sorry. You interrupted very late.
No, no.
Anyway, it was theory part only.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further question?
No, no, this is fine now. Yeah.
So do you want me to repeat this statement again, or is it okay?
Uh, I personally don't think. Pratik, do you want something to repeat?
No, it's clear. It's clear to me.
Okay. Yeah, Rohit, I think so that was something you told about the journey of the Ariba, okay, how it started. So there is no, so it is clear. So yeah, now
Hmm.
we can see the slide. Yeah, so you can continue.
Okay. Because most of the things basically I told you, explained you from orally. So I only took 1 or 2 points from this slide only. So this is not only like all that like lines we added from here.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So okay, before going to to talk about the customer business process, let me come to Ariba and I would like to show you something so that you can easily understand the simplification of the SAP. Okay. So now if you see, this is the Ariba screen. Please confirm me if you can see my Ariba screen.
Yes.
Okay. So if you see, this is the Ariba system, and you can see I just logged in the Ariba system with the help of the browser. This is basically Microsoft Edge browser, and even whatever the browser you have, you can basically use any of the browser. And generally, Ariba is supporting different kind of authentication. So authentication point of view, sometimes some of the customer, they are following user based authentication. That means they have to enter the user ID and the password, right? Or might be in some cases, some of the customer, they are following the single sign on authentication as well, right? So Ariba is supporting all the different kind of authentication. So it depends on the customer, like whatever the authentication method they are going to implement. So once we basically we will use the authentication, even in coming session as well, we'll discuss in detail how to log in the SAP Ariba. So once you log in the SAP Ariba system, so this Ariba dashboard you will get, and here you will able to find out many informations. We'll talk about all the informations in coming session, but just would like to show you one quick demo here about the simplification process. Now let's assume, for example, I have to purchase one particular product. Like let's say I have to purchase one laptop, or you can take any item. So what basically we have to do in that cases, we have to come here, and here in the catalog tab, you can search any of the particular product. So for example, I want to purchase one laptop. So I'll come here. I'll type this text laptop here and click on this search button. So once I click on the search button, then what system will do? Like system will basically, oh, just 1 second. Okay. So you can see once we'll click on the search button of this to search the laptop, then system will show you the list of catalog here. So whatever different catalog is configured with the name of the catalog, that kind of different kind of catalog you will able to see here. So this is nothing just like as a material master, right? And we have the flexibility, like if you want to configure the catalog in the Ariba site, we can basically configure as a buyer, or even supplier also, they have the capabilities, they can also create the catalog from their side as well, right? So now here let's assume I want to purchase this product, like this HP 873 OW workstation laptop. So I'll come here, whatever quantity I have to purchase, I will adjust my quantity, and I'll click on this add to cart here. And once I'll click on this add to cart, then system will add this item in the cart, and you will have the option to proceed to checkout, right? So same way, like in similar fashion, we are also following the e-commercial process as well. Like once you add the item in the cart, you will have the option to proceed to checkout. So we can see now we have the checkout option here, and then we can click on the proceed to checkout. And once you click on the proceed to checkout, we have to provide only minimal information. So in these cases, we can see we have to enter the title, whatever title you want to add here, you can add the title. And apart from that, in some cases, with some customer side, you have to provide some other information. But in this customer side, we have basically defaulted all the information here, nothing to do. And then simply we can click on the submit button. So even we can see our purchase requisition is basically created here, but it is not submitted to for approval. So now in the create requisition successfully, we have to submit this requisition for the approval. So we can simply come here and click on the submit button. And once you click on the submit button, so your requisition will be created successfully. Right. So this is basically the simplification, or we can say like, simplified way of that, like to create the purchase requisition. And we can see basically like, our purchase requisition is created successfully in the Ariba. Okay. And even not only this, because in most of the cases, when you will work with any Ariba project, so most of the customer, they are using SAP Ariba like on top of the SAP ERP system. That means they would like to have the integration as well with SAP ERP. So what is the meaning of the integration? Integration in the sense, like we can see, we have created the purchase request in the Ariba side. Now, what is our expectation? Since we have the integration with SAP ERP, that means in SAP MM or with SAP S4HANA. So in that case, we are expecting the same purchase requisition should also be created in the SAP ERP system as well, right? And even whatever the purchase requisition is getting created in the SAP ERP system, so ERP system should send the confirmation message to Ariba as well. That means if we'll see in the Ariba, so at least we should have the visibility, like whatever the ERP PR number is created, that kind of information we should be able to see in the Ariba. So this functionality is also there, and in most of the cases we have to work in the same environment as well. So Ariba is basically very strong from the integration point of view. Whatever system you want to integrate, you can take any name on any name of the system, like ERP system, non-ERP system, whatever. We can do the integration. It is very strong from the integration point of view. But since we are from the SAP ERP background, so we have the flexibility. We can integrate like our Ariba system with our SAP ERP system, and we can share all the transaction data or all the master data, whatever we needed. So we can share to each other from ERP to Ariba, Ariba to ERP. Getting it?
Yes, yes, Rohit.
Okay. Okay, now let's talk about this Ariba solutions here. Okay, any further question you have, Pawan or Pratik?
I'm fine, Rohit.
All right. Just one question. Are you able to follow my screen, and are you able to follow me as well?
Yes, yes. After I interrupted, so
Yes.
from then the system flow is good. Yeah.
Oh,
So both are in sync.
thanks, Pawan. Okay, now let's take one example to understand the Ariba solutions first. So what is basically that, like, that sorry. So let's take one example just to understand about the customer business process first. So what is happening, like let's assume we have to purchase one new product. Let's say, for example, we have to purchase something, some MRO item, or let's assume we have to purchase some laptop as well, or any laptop equipment. You can take any name. And let's assume we are basically working on that, like purchasing department, and we are responsible to purchase the product. And whatever the requirement you have received, you have never purchased that product from any supplier. Even you don't have any source of information, source of basically supplier as well. You are not much aware, like which supplier will supply this item, what will be the term and conditions we have to basically follow, whatever the price information will be there. You don't have any information. That means you can say you are completely blank, right? So in that cases, how basically we have to start our journey in that cases, how we can initiate our purchasing, right? Even you can correlate like the same purchasing activity like in our personal purchasing as well. So whenever we have to purchase any particular product, like let's say you have to purchase something like Apple laptop, right? Like we have some different e-commerce site, we have different laptop service center or some showroom. I can go there, I can purchase, but your source is not determined. You have some information. Even if you don't have any information, you can search in the Google, like laptop showroom near to me. You will find out some a list of that like showroom, right? So we have the basically sources, but that sources is not determined for you. Why? Because you also have some like criteria, and based on the criteria only you will decide the sources, right? So in that cases, how we have to start our journey, how we can initiate our purchasing. So in that cases, if you see, so we have to start the journey from the searching of the supplier. right? So what basically we'll do, we'll first search the supplier, like we'll try to find out the list of supplier, and you may basically search on the Google. You may basically do some other investigation. Even sometimes we are asking in some referral as well to our friends, or that or to our different persons, right? I'm taking this personal example so that Pratik can also easily understand. So we are basically asking to other friend as well, right? So we are mentioning like we have to purchase this product, but we are not sure which supplier is good. I can see we have a number of suppliers, but can you please refer me some good suppliers so that I can go there? So what is happening in that case is you are basically collecting the supplier list, right? So whatever supplier you find out, A, B, C, or 1, 2, 3 supplier, you will basically find out all the supplier list. And in some time, what basically we are doing, so we are basically after searching the supplier, whatever the supplier information you are getting it, so we are doing the supplier onboarding. What is supplier onboarding? Supplier onboarding in the sense we are collecting the supplier information. Like if you see in the SAP we are creating the vendor master, right? And in our personal purchasing, we are collecting the information of the supplier, like supplier name, or at least we are taking the supplier contact number, right? Supplier name, supplier contact number. Sometimes we are taking some supplier email address or their address as well. So this kind of information we are capturing, that is called as a supplier onboarding, right? So why basically we have to do supplier onboarding? Because whatever the potential supplier you have, and once, so if you have the potential supplier in your list, so you don't have to basically look anywhere. And whenever you needed any to purchase any product or to investigate any price information as well, so at least you will have the supplier list ready. You can easily find that list and you can do the investigation. You can talk to supplier, right? That is basically supplier onboarding we are doing. Now, once the supplier onboarding will be done, so we have to perform the next activity that is called as a supplier negotiation. And if you see, this is most favorite activities of every customer. So even you are getting the price in lowest cost, you are getting the price in highest cost, right? But we want to have the negotiation as well, right? Even sometimes we are getting in some loss as well. So for example, if you see, we are getting some sales on the e-commerce side, right? And usually whatever the product you are purchasing in something 30% of discount, in sale we are getting 50% discount. But still we are thinking like, why not we can wait for some time, or why not we can wait for some time so we can purchase other product. And in that case, basically we may get some other discount as well, extra discount as well, right? Or sometimes when we are talking supplier physically, so we are asking them like, what is the price of the product? Supplier will say 100. Definitely will ask, can I get in 90? And if you go to other supplier and the same product, if you'll ask the what is the price of this product, he will say 90. So in that case as well, you will ask, can I get in 85 or 80? Because this is in our DNA, we are the buyer, and our nature is always go in the reverse way, right? So that means we would like to perform the negotiation activity that is called as a quotation activity, or you can say tendering activity as well. And why basically we have to perform the quotation activities or tendering activity? To choose the right supplier. So we have to basically discuss our criteria with the supplier, right? And if supplier is going to meet your expectation, that supplier basically you will choose, right? So only pricing part is not very important for us, right? Because if any new supplier will come and you have to purchase a laptop, you can see in the market the price of the laptop is something 50,000 INR, and the other supplier he is saying, I'll give you in 20k INR, you can take it, right? Will you take? No. Why? Because we have some other criteria as well. It does not happen like, if I'll purchase from that new supplier and tomorrow if I'll face any issue, so I will not have any support as well. So what I will do, right? So that is why you would like to perform supplier negotiation activities. And as part of negotiation activities, you will filter out the right supplier, like to whom you can initiate the purchasing process, right? And once we complete supplier basically on negotiation activities, so in some cases, this is applicable from customer point of view. In some cases, you would like to sign up a contract. So might be that product you are going to purchase as part of regular purchasing. So you would like to have some contract with the supplier, so that we can keep the tracking of that purchasing. And also we may get some like additional discount or some different kind of scale pricing or some other different kind of discount as well, or some cashback, some rebate we can get from supplier. So for that we would like to create one contract, right? So this activity basically you will do here. Now if you see up to the contract from searching of the supplier, so this activity, like what basically we are trying to achieve here. So we are basically trying to achieve here, we are trying to determine our source. That means we can say this is called as the sourcing activities, right? And once you will have the source in the place, that means now source is determined and you have to initiate the purchasing. So in that cases, basically we have to perform our purchasing activity. That means you have to create the purchase equation, you have to create the purchase order, do the receipt, do the invoice payment. That's it. Right. So this is called as a procurement activities. So overall, if you see from customer point of view, so to purchase any of the particular product, I'm not saying in all the cases it is applicable. This will be applicable in some certain cases. So in any, like wherever it is applicable. So overall, we are basically performing the sourcing and procurement activities, right? And to meet this business process, Ariba has also given the Ariba solutions, and Ariba solutions are basically divided in the two part, that is called as upstream and downstream. So overall, Ariba solutions have been the two different segment. One is the upstream and downstream. So if you see in the upstream, so in upstream we have three modules. One is the supplier, and with the help of the supplier, we perform different kind of supplier onboarding activity. So if you want to create a vendor master, you want to perform some different kind of qualification activities. You want to perform different kind of preferred supplier activities. So whatever different activities you want to perform to manage your supplier, that basically we can do with the help of the supplier solutions. Okay. Now in the next, basically we have the sourcing module, sourcing solutions. So with the help of the sourcing module, whatever the different kind of negotiation activities you want to perform. So if you see from negotiation point of view, so we are basically doing the different kind of negotiation. Sometimes we are doing like normal negotiation. Sometimes we are doing some kind like a competitive negotiation as well. For example, if you can take the example of the IPL bidding, right? So IPL bidding is a kind of competitive negotiation. So whatever different kind of negotiation you want to perform, we can perform with the help of the sourcing module. And even one thing I want to add here. So even if you see in the SAP ERP, in SAP ERP also we have that like RFQ option. We can perform quotation activities, but we have lots of limitations in that RFQ, right? But in Ariba sourcing, we have lots of simplification, and whatever different kind of negotiation you want to perform, you can basically perform here. Okay. Then we have the contract solutions, and with the help of the contract, we can basically sign up a contract with the supplier. So if you want to create any legal agreement or operational contract with the supplier, that basically we can do with the help of the contract module, right? And in the last Ariba, the second segment is the downstream segment. And with the help of the downstream segment, the customer, they can perform the purchasing activity. That means they can perform the procurement activities. They can create like purchase equation, purchase order, receipt, invoice, payment. They can do with the help of that downstream solution. So overall, Ariba is basically offering these two solutions. So we have the upstream and downstream. And this overall solution is called as source to pay solution. Source means your upstream, right? And pay means downstream. And if you see, always the source will always be in the up, right? Because first we have to determine the source, then we have to perform the purchasing activity. And that is why it is called as the upstream and downstream as well. Okay. Now, one more thing I want to add here. So for your information purpose, this is mainly for like SAP ERP system. So, okay, let me simplify this. So Pratik can also easily understand it. So if you see, as a customer, we are basically doing two different kind of purchases. Two different kind of purchases means I'm not going to say service and material. From a material point of view, if you see, so we are basically purchasing two different kind of product like material. One is the indirect and second is the direct, right? What is basically indirect? Indirect means we can say consumables, right? Like whatever the items we are purchasing, we are not keeping in stock. We are purchasing and directly we are consuming it. For example, IT equipment, MRO items, right? And different office supportive items. So these are the different kind of items we have, and we are not keeping the stock of those items. So whenever we required, we are raising the purchase request, we are purchasing and consuming it, right? Second is basically called as a direct material. What is direct? Direct means stockable item, right? For example, raw materials, or we can say packaging item, different kind of additives. So these are basically called as a direct material. Why? Because whenever we needed, so we are not purchasing only whenever we needed. We are purchasing in the advance. We are keeping the stock for at least 1 week, 2 weeks, or 10 days, something like that, depending on the our like manufacturing capabilities. And we are basically keeping that material in the stock, and whenever we need it, we are issuing that required quantity from that warehouse or our store, and we are basically consuming it, right? Same thing we are doing in our like home as well. If you take the example of the rice, pulses, these are the items are the direct. So we are not purchasing, like we, if you have to cook only 100-gram rice, so we'll not go in the shop and we'll not purchase only 100 gram. We'll purchase in the bulk like 10 kg, 20 kg, 5 kg, right? But we are basically consuming little bit depending on the requirement. That is called as a direct. And if you take the example of the green vegetables, these are called as a indirect, because we have some shelf life of that green vegetable. So we are not keeping in the stock. Little bit we are keeping in stock depending on the shelf life. Otherwise, we are purchasing whenever we need it. That is called as an indirect. So in SAP Ariba as well, so with the help of the Ariba solutions, if customer they want to perform the direct material purchasing, so for that we have the different Ariba solution. And if customer they want to perform indirect material purchasing, we have the different Ariba solution. So whatever the solutions we are talking here, upstream and downstream, I will not talk about upstream because upstream is that only determined for the source. So whatever solutions we have as part of downstream, this is only supporting that indirect metal purchasing, right? So that means whatever different kind of consumable item we needed, like or some other IT equipment, IT accessories or whatever, so we can purchase with the help of that like Ariba downstream, right? But if customer they want to basically use the direct material purchasing like with the help of the Ariba, or in other words we can say MRPPR, right? So if you want to basically perform your direct material purchasing, that is MRPPR purchasing with help of the Ariba, that basically we in that cases Ariba has given the different solution that is called as a Ariba supply chain collaboration, and in short it is called as a Ariba SCC. Okay. So Ariba SCC is not the part of this training. I'm offering this Ariba SCC training as well. But in case of Ariba SCC, this Ariba upstream downstream will not come in the picture. You will have you have to basically collaborate our SAP ERP system with the Ariba network. So this is different topic itself. So this Ariba SCC, that means direct material purchasing, will be not the part of this course. Okay. So, okay, now in the last, we will talk about something about course curriculum. And so before that, do you have any question? Anyone?
No questions, Rohit, but I want to just give a comment that so far I was having some misconception that in Ariba buying and invoicing, we can buy indirect and direct material. That was a misconception what I found. So thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, I got a clarity now.
No, no. Even everyone is having same misconception. Like whenever I'm talking, so people are saying, okay, what about the Metal Master? If you talk about the ERP integration, they will say how we can bring the Metal Master. We can bring. We have the option. But for that, basically, if you want to go in the full place, then we can go with the Ariba supply chain collaboration.
Yeah. Thank you. And thanks for clarifying these two things as well. That is what is upstream and downstream, because I was in the earlier I was learning on my own. So I encountered these two things, but I was not really sure what it is. So this is also clear. So thanks for it. Yeah. No questions apart from that.
Okay.
Uh, Pratik, do you have any queries? Pratik is online. Not
I
sure.
have no questions, but in between I was disconnected, but now okay. but it's okay. I'm
Okay.
clear with the topic.
Okay, Pratik, no problem. Even you will get the recording as well, so you can refer the recording
Yeah.
and let me know if you have any question.
Yes, sure.
Okay. Okay, I think we are about to close the time as well. So let me quickly go through the course curriculum. Okay, before that, we'll talk about Ariba implementation. That is basically very important. So what is happening basically whenever we are working on the any Ariba implementation project, so SAP Ariba implementation is following the SAP Activate methodology, right? I will talk about in detail level. So if you may not understand, don't worry. We'll talk in detail level in our coming session as well. So in SAP Activate approach, we have basically mainly 4 phases. That is prepare, explore, realize, and the deploy. Right? We will not talk about any phase by phase activities that we have to discuss in like coming session. But what is happening if you see this time? So we have the different approach for the implementation. So for example, if you go to the other implementation approach, like for SAP ECC, we have the SAP methodology, right? But now if you see in the SAP Activate, so we have lots of simplification. Why? What is simplification? So every time we have to get in touch with the customer. So it does not means like initially I talk to you and I capture your requirement. Now I configure the system. I configure the entire system. And in the last, I'm going to you and I'm saying to you, hey, you can see, you can check the information I have configured as per your requirement. And in the last, customer is saying, no. This thing I never told you. You may say, no, we have captured the information during requirement gathering. So the customer, they may say, I was saying, but I was saying in different way itself. So the designing is not correct. You have to change the designing. So now you can see you are at the last of the stage, but again, you have to come back to first stage and we have to again redesign the solutions as well. That means your effort is completely lost. So what is how basically we are working in the current environment? So in current environment, whenever we have to perform any implementation, especially Ariba implementation, first we have to sit with our customer. So as the Ariba consultant, as the Ariba lead, we have to conduct some workshop and we have to basically talk, we have to invite all the customer stakeholder who is a concerned person, and we have to show the demo to the customer. Like how I'm explaining to you, same way you also have to explain to your customer, like these are the solutions and these are the different processes you have to basically perform, and these are the different field information is also available, and what is the functionality of this field, that's something also you have to explain to them. And why we have to explain? Because your customer is completely new. They are not much aware about the Ariba. So until unless they will not understand about the Ariba, then how they will like came up with their requirement as well, right? So that is why we have to show demo to customer. We have to explore all the like possible features, whatever basically they are going to implement, like upstream and downstream. And based on that, we have to talk to our customer. Now tell me your requirement, like what is your requirement, right? So customer may tell you, like, I want to this custom field, I want to remove this field, I want to follow this process, I want to remove this process. This kind of information customer will tell you, and we have to capture as part of requirement. And based on that, we have to perform the configuration, right? And once your configuration will be done, then basically we have to perform the testing, and whatever different kind of testing we have to do, we will do. Then we'll request to business user as well to perform the testing. And based on the business confirmation, we have to be ready for deployment. So in these cases, if you see, so as a Ariba consultant, our job is not only like, only the configuration part. Before going to perform the configuration part, we must know about your system itself, like how system is working, whatever different options are there in the system. So first we have to understand about our system, like as the end user. As an end user, we have to understand the system, and then basically we have to think as a Ariba consultant, right? So that means overall we can say, like as a Ariba consultant, it is very essential we should know the business process and we should know the configuration part as well. So just to meet this expectation, this requirement, like we have designed our course curriculum as well. And if you see the our course curriculum, so in our course curriculum, overall we have basically 2 parts in this course curriculum. So in the first half part, we'll only try to understand about the system, right? So what basically we'll do, we'll start our journey once again from the Ariba basics. And in the first session, we'll talk about like Ariba basics, like what is SAP Ariba, or like whatever different kind of landscape we have in the Ariba. Because if you see in the SAP ERP, you have the different landscape like development, sandbox, test, production, right? So same thing, whatever different landscape is there in the Ariba, how we can log in the Ariba, and how basically we can navigate our dashboard. This kind of basic we'll discuss in the first session. And after that, we'll start like talking about Ariba solutions. We'll talk about Ariba supplier solutions and whatever different thing we can do like as a business user. We'll not talk about any configuration part here. We'll talk about only business process, like whatever different business activity we can do. That's something we'll discuss in supplier solution. After that, we'll talk about Ariba sourcing solution, and in sourcing solution as well. We'll talk about from business point of view, whatever different kind of thing we can do as business perspective, and whatever different kind of negotiation activity you want to perform as a customer. We can, so we'll see how we can do. We'll talk about the end-to-end cycle as well. Then we'll talk about the contract solutions as well, and we'll talk about how we have to sign off a contract. So if you see from contract point of view, so we are basically creating the two different kind of contract, like legal contract and the operational contract. So how we can create the legal contract, how we can work on the operational contract, whatever different scenarios you may get in that, like with the different customer. So we'll talk about all different kind of scenarios in the during the contract session. And after that, we'll talk about Ariba downstream solutions, and we'll talk about how we have to work with that Ariba like a P2P solutions, how we can perform the purchasing activities, or whatever different buying channel, different buying mechanism are there. That's something we'll discuss here, right? And so up to this process, we can say our half of journey will be completed up to section 6. And now once we complete section 6, then it definitely you will be in the position like you understood about your system very well. And once you understood your system very well, then basically we'll come to the our Ariba consultant like journey, and we'll talk about from the Ariba consultant point of view. So we'll talk about the integration, and we'll talk about the CIG integration. We'll talk about the different configuration as well as part of CIG. Then we'll talk about like a different kind of setup, like we'll talk about template configuration, how to configure template, whatever different template mechanism are there, how to build up the logic, how we can control any of that like visibility of the template, right? Then we'll talk about approval workflow configuration. So basically, if you see in the SAP MM, whenever we have to configure the approval workflow, so we have to take the help of the SAP ABAP consultant, right? We can do some setting, but those are basically basic configuration, that is release strategy configuration. But generally we have to take the SAP ABAP consultant help, and we have to write some logic, we have to build up some logic there, right? But in Ariba side, we don't have any such kind of like coding activity. And even as an Ariba consultant, you will never get a chance to see the coding part as well, because it is cloud solutions, and we don't have any options like that to see the database information as well. So we'll talk about approval configuration. We'll talk about master data setup, how we can set up master data, how we can set up the user configuration, how we can work with the catalog configuration, how we can configure the P2P solutions as well, how we can migrate some legacy contract. So might be if you're going to implement Ariba contract module only, and your customer, they have the SAP ERP system, so they want to migrate their legacy contract to Ariba, how we can migrate, and how we can set up the supplier, how we can maintain some custom field like drop-down value, how we can do some mapping of that like commodity code and the metal group as well, right? So these are the different configuration that basically we'll discuss. Even in this configuration, we have that parameter part as well. You will get the parameter information as well. And then we'll talk about the reporting part, whatever different kind of reports are there, we'll talk about the report. And in the last, we'll talk about like about the implementation project once again, and we'll discuss in detail level like how the implementation going on, whatever different activities we have to perform, or whatever different kind of documentation we have to like work. Even documentation I'll show you during the configuration itself, but at this moment you will able to understand about documentation part as well. And we'll talk about as a Ariba consultant whatever role we have to play, that's something also we'll discuss here. Okay, So overall, basically, this is the total like course curriculum. And in the last, this course needed 40 hours. So we will have the session from Monday to Friday. I'm not sure the timing or the other information that we can check with Sreshta inputting peoples. So like this course needed 40 hours and we'll have the session from Monday to Friday weekdays. In very worst cases, if we have not done any session in the weekdays, or we would like to connect on the weekend. So if everyone will be agree, then we'll do on weekends. Otherwise, we'll do on the weekdays itself. Okay. And last thing, like all the sessions will be recorded. So like whatever session will be conducted, all the sessions will be recorded, and you will get the session recording as well. And you will have the access of session recordings, so you can access, or due to any reason if you missed any of session, you can walk through the recording. And whatever questions you will have, so you can basically raise the question during session, or even I hope we have the WhatsApp group. You can drop the message in the WhatsApp group as well, and based on the availability, definitely we will help you. Okay, so that's it from my side. Any question, Pawan, Pratik?
Yeah, thanks Pratik for explaining all these things. So far from my side it is all clear. So one small request. So since you will going to share this session recording, okay, or right. So along with that, can you please share this course content as well, because the content what we had received, maybe that is bit incomplete with the with certain topics.
Oh,
So yeah, so it will be great if you can share this Word document as well. Yeah.
sure, Pawan. I will ask
Yeah.
Gautam to
Yes.
send you. Yeah,
Sure.
will do.
Pratik, do you have any questions?
Oh, no question. It was that Rohit, just that second point is in the upstream part, right?
Mhm.
Supplier life cycle.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, that basically I explained in at high level, but in the coming session we are going to talk about only those solutions in the detailed level.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Rohit.
Okay, so thank you so much, Pawan and Pratik.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Rohit, for your
Nice
time.
talking.
Yeah. Yeah. So have a nice day ahead, and thanks, Pratik, for joining. Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Nice to talk.
Bye-bye.